Hey everybody, my name is Nadernejad. I'm the director of Nadernejad Media, and we help you create an online presence that's more like you. In today's webinar, we're going to be going over how to suppress or bury negative Google links. We're going to teach you exactly how to do this at home yourselves. If you have a negative online presence, one of the key things that you can do is create positive assets on the internet and then bury the negative media. So in this webinar, we're going to go over everything. You can stop, pause the recording, and whether you're seeing this online for the first time or you've received it over email, we encourage you to reach out. There'll be contact information in the description down below, as well as a direct link to download an Excel spreadsheet of all the networks you can use. Let's get started. So how does this work? Usually you find negative content online and you want to fix it, whether that's a negative news article, bad report, or one of those what we call reputation bombs. You have negative media on the internet, and somebody could have done it maliciously, or it could have been a news report from a journalist. So let's dig into our strategy. So the first thing, again, and you'll see it all the time, you'll see it in all of my videos, it's SEO. So the number one tactic to drop negative links is search engine optimization. We use it by creating positive web assets. I want you to visualize it. So you have negative media, and then you create assets and rank them above the negative media, and then drop the media. Yes, we can be focused on removing negative content, but there's no guarantee that trying to remove that content is actually going to work. That's why we work to create a suppression strategy first, because you can try to remove content for a whole year and it's an all or nothing game. So it's better to just try to create positive assets and to control as much of those first, second, and third pages as possible. And the truth is, most people aren't going to look past that first page. So once you've cleared the first page, you're in the green and you can continue making progress. So search engine optimization is the number one tactic. So how do we do that? How do we search engine optimize? How do we make our assets rank higher on the internet? And a bigger question is, what do we create? So I've developed this. It's a 4-step plan, and it goes over how to make positive content rank, but also where to start. And it starts at number one. It's the strategic communications plan. You need a bulletproof strategic communications plan that'll help your brand stay consistent with its messaging. So whether you're a person or you're a business, you need to start from the beginning. Open up a Word document and develop a comms plan. Even if you don't have a background in communications, you've never seen, communications documents or worked on them before, you can just create one. Type who you want to be. Type about your business goals. And I want you to have 3 key points. What messaging are you going to deliver to your audience? So one thing for me is I want to be known for reputation management. I want people to know that I can help them fix their online presence, but I also want them to know about my media background. So in my messaging, I talk about using media and creating assets. And you want some deeper messaging that's going to resonate with your audience. So maybe, some bits of personal struggle, a personal life example or a story, and you want to weave that into all the content you're going to be creating. So it's really important to take that first step and to create that document. There's a reason why corporations do it. It'll keep you on track, and it'll let you weave a professional narrative into your entire online presence. Step number 2, use social media. You may already be using social media at the moment, but I recommend you use social media. And the reason for that is it's totally and absolutely free. Not only that, you can automate social media using tools like Buffer. I recommend a combination of manual and automation. So that way, your networks are going to rank higher. Many social platforms can tell if you're using automation, and your networks won't rank as high. But again, there's the issue of human resources and human capital. You can't sit at the end of those 20 networks and keep uploading files and content and images to keep them active. So I'd say create a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll delve into YouTube later on, because those videos that you can create with your name or with your brand rank on the first page of the internet. So try to use social media as much as possible. It's free, it's easy to use, and be sure to download the resource of over 30 different links that you can create right now today. And the third step is to create and buy sites. This one's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more advanced and technical. It's something you may need to have our help with. But buying sites is fairly easy, and you could learn how to do it yourself. So if you go onto GoDaddy, you can buy older domains, and this is a bit of what we call a gray hat strategy. You can buy older web domains, and then you can link them to your sites and your assets to get them to rank higher using a strategy called backlinking. Just buy sites that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. But be careful. If there's an active site that's 10 years old, 15-year-old site, it's not only going to be expensive up front, but you may also get de-indexed by Google or penalized by Google because they have automatic systems. They have web crawlers that can tell that you're implementing these tactics. So we want to go light on creating and buying sites, but we want to do it a little bit. And we want to do it in a way that it's affordable. And one way to do this is to create 5, 10 sites and lump them under the same hosting plan. What this is going to do, it's going to allow you to manage 5 or 10 web assets for one single monthly fee. Whereas if you were to buy 5 or 6 different websites from scratch and have them under different plans, you may be spending $100 a month to keep them running. So tip, buy all the sites, lump them under one web plan, and then use your strategic comms plan. Information like a portfolio site. One site about your business goals and aspirations. One site can just be like a content delivery sort of network where you upload articles about yourself and your industry and link that back to your main site. So you're creating all this infrastructure around the internet and you're titling, keywording those things. My name's Nadernejad. So if I wanted to link that, I would put my full name inside of each of those sites and I would keyword optimize it. If you don't know how to do that, there are videos all over the internet that teach you, and you can reach out, and I'm happy to jump on a one-on-one call just to talk about how you can do that, even if you're looking at doing that yourself. Now, the fourth one is writing articles and getting them published. This strategy is a little bit different, but what I recommend you do is write articles about yourself. And if it's difficult to detach yourself from that, have someone write articles for you. You can hire freelancers on Fiverr or Upwork and pay them to write articles about you. And then find websites you can publish on for a fee. So if you go on Fiverr and you look at published news articles, fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. It's a gig marketplace. You can hire anybody in for $5. Hire them, they'll publish an article for you, pay them directly. For $10, you can be ranking on that first page of Google on a Google News affiliated site because it has high domain authority. They'll drop the negative link and it will read like you have positive news about yourself. Now, I understand if you're not going to get how to do these strategies up front. I hope I've given you enough insight where you can start to pursue and do your own research. But if anything's unclear, feel free to reach out. So what are some of the more advanced tactics? I've mentioned these in a lot of my videos. So one thing we're doing is deepening content and talking about some of the advanced SEO tactics that you can use in order to rank content higher, but also to rank assets that are linked with your communication plan. So this is my tactical SEO checklist. These are individual SEO tactics that will help you outrank negative links on the web. So the first thing, again, let's revisit this. You want to determine the message you want to spread and the story you want to tell. So I had one client, his name is Bo Harper, and his message was that he is feeding hungry students in California. Everybody deserves to get fed. And 3, he was all into nonprofit and hard work. Hard work, nonprofit, feeding everybody in California. And this was the messaging that came out of it. This was the strong one-liner. No child deserves to go to school hungry. He had one negative link, but he had this nonprofit vision. So we used that and published it on the internet. So once you've done that, once you've determined your message, that was in our communications plan, we decided the tactics we wanted to use to deliver that message. And just going back, everything I've shared with you, those 4 categories, that's part of the strategy. Those are the tactics. But also, before you get to this stage, you want to implement steps 1 to 4 from the previous slide. And once you're there, you've developed your strategic comms plan, you've used social media, you've created and bought at least a couple sites, or you've created at the very least your personal website portfolio. And you've written a few articles, at least 5, 10, or 15, and gotten them published for at least a few months. This is the next step. Here are our tactics. These are 3, but we've compiled over 30 of them and we're building them every month. So a big part of this industry is that it's very new and we're building out these tactics. And one of them is just an SEO best practice. Every article that you create, every asset, I want you to make them 1,000 words and more. Now, it sounds like a lot of content to create. And this is where we jump in and help you. But you're fully capable of creating 1,000 words. Just don't overthink them. Don't overthink them and execute on creating 1,000-word articles, making your website portfolio 1,000 words. And don't get me wrong, there's a sacrifice, because when you make your articles look cluttered with text, it can damage the user experience, the UX. But at the same time, Google at this present moment, as of 2020, I think it's going to change, but as of right now, and at least for the next few years, Google loves long-form content, and it always ranks better in search. The second thing, and I haven't mentioned this before in any of my videos, you can use negative SEO. Negative SEO is when you work against a competitor to drop the web rankings. And there's been a lot of strategies, thrown around by this. We can send negative backlinks, 5,000 black hat links to our competitor. And I think it's illegal. That's illegal. But law aside, the worst thing about that is that it may not work and you're spending money for the black hat links. What is going to help is conducting a full website audit. So what you can do is you can audit the links on your competitor's site or that site that has negative content about you. And if it's not, a 98 authority site, if it's just a little bit lower, you can actually audit the links and find all of the negative links. And then what you can do is you can report what we call rich snippet violations to Google's official spam report form. And you can also audit and find paid links. So a lot of these links are paid sites. And if you can catch one of them and you comb through all the links linking to this site, the negative site, with a fine-tooth comb, and you report it to Google's official spam report form, you're likely going to get that website to lose rankings. And not only can you use that, then you can also contact the site and use it as leverage to get them to remove your article. So tell them, hey, I'm reaching out in a very friendly manner. I found these negative links. This is negative content about me. I believe it's untrue. I believe it jeopardizes my personal safety. And also, P.S., we found a lot of black hat links on your site, and we're thinking about reporting it to Google. Would it be easier for us both just to remove the link? And we'd be happy to work with you to find out how. Tell you, many times doing this, people will remove the negative links. Third one, I've mentioned it before, creating and buying the websites. Again, lump them under the same hosting plan. It's another tactical thing. I'm including it again just because it's so important. Now it's time to refine your key messages. Go back to the messaging that we started with. Here's how you do it. What you want the content to read as, the content that you're creating, is you want it to read like news, so journalism, but you also want it to read like public relations. So journalism is just objective, factual information with no personal opinion that is significant, interesting, and new. So journalism isn't promotional. It's about telling people what's really going on in the world. Public relations is totally promotional. Here are some great things our company did. Here's a lineup of, we hit these numbers this month. Those things are great, but ORM strategy, I envision it as a place in between, an affinity between journalism and public relations. And the reason for that is, imagine if all your content was promotional. I'm the best, and it reads in the same way or the same voice. It looks like crap, and people are going to be able to tell. Again, if it's just journalism and you tell everybody the truth, like, yeah, I did all these bad things, and that's in your whole narrative, not so good. But the place in between is where you want to strike, because that's where we have storytelling. And storytelling is a tool that you're going to use once it's consistent and ranking on the internet. Headlines are very important. So that headline on Google, insert your name, feeding hungry children in California for 10 links, is totally going to change people's perception about you. That's what we did for Bo. But inside that article, we also talked about his struggle, how it took him a while to get there, how he's still struggling to buy farmland and raising the money, and that for years he didn't see progress, and then he was working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and that he had, so many children he had to take care of. We wrote about all those things. So that's an example of journalism and public relations coming together to build a strong ORM strategy. And again, hire Google News publishers, because this will read like news. Hire them to publish it. It goes on the news tab of Google and it reads just like news, but it's not so promotional, people will never be able to tell. It looks like you have real, genuine news coverage, and people pay thousands of dollars for individual articles. Imagine somebody who can write 5, 10, 15 for you and publish them all at once. That's what we do. We have the human capital and the templates, but also the ability to tailor your communications in a way that we could create them quickly. I have a Bachelor of Journalism honors, and I have a team that helps me create these assets. So if you need help with this, or it's overwhelming to create that much content, I'm here to help, and I'm happy just to jump onto a call with you. Again, online reputation management is a long process. You might have to write dozens of articles. You might have to film hundreds of videos. You have to manage, several profiles, 30 profiles. There's about 30 in that spreadsheet that I've attached. There's a lot of content that you have to generate, but don't think about generating it all at once. Think about generating it monthly and then reassess after 1 month, after 3 months, after 6 months, and then see that first page of Google. It's true, the hard work eventually pays off. These are Bose rankings, and I use Bo as one of our client success stories because he's just done such a great job after we worked together. He was always doing a great job, but after these links are ranking on Google, look at this, every single link. If you Googled this guy and you looked up his online reputation, you saw how he overcame life challenges. Remember I talked about that marriage between PR and journalism. He overcame life challenges to feed hungry students. Why he started his organization to feed hungry students. If you see a consistency, but also I'm varying the message, that comes from the communications plan. So don't neglect that. Again, feeding hungry students in Los Angeles. This is a strategic keyword to rank for location. This one over here, he plans to buy farmland to help feed hungry students. So that's the whole first page of Google right now. And we have a lot of stories like this one, but we also have a confidentiality clause. So if we work together and you don't want anybody to know about our project, that's totally fine under our total confidentiality clause. It's an individual agreement that we've created to protect you and to work as part of your team, incognito if we have to. So thanks for watching the webinar, and we're excited to help create an online presence more like you. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below, send me an email, or give us a call. I have both a Canadian and a US number. And also, you can book a meeting on my calendar. I'm dropping the Calendly link down below. I'm doing this temporarily, hoping it doesn't get totally full up because it is very full at the moment, but I want to make myself as accessible as possible to help. So do book a meeting. I will follow up with more info, and we can either have a phone call or a Zoom chat. That's what we do originally. That's what we do as a standard. But if you would like to, if you'd like to have a Google Hangout, or you have another preferred method, we did FaceTime the other day with a client. So whatever you'd like, we can have a chat. Thank you for watching, and take care.